This is SSN.
Story Studio Network.
This is the Biz Doctor podcast, and I'm your host, Lauren Goldstein. Welcome back to the show. In today's episode, I'm going to explore a subject that I see frustrates entrepreneurs a lot: how to find and hire the right people for your business. Oftentimes, I hear something like this from my clients. I just can't seem to find the right people for my team. Or, hiring is the least favorite part of running my business, that and managing my team. Or, I can't seem to get off this hire-fire cycle. What am I doing wrong? Or the doozy: I cannot afford to make another bad hire. If you've ever uttered one of those statements, then this episode is for you. So grab your earbuds and your coffee. Let's dig in. So the first thing I want to talk about that will help you hit the bullseye every time is clarity. It all starts with clarity. This is actually part of the 4 C's of a high-performing team that I talked about in Season 1, Episode 9. So give that a listen after this if you want to dive deeper. But the first C is clarity. This is the one that takes the most time up front, but it pays the most dividends in the long run. And here's why. If you're not clear on at least these key things about a role, then you're not only asking for frustration and struggle, but wasting all sorts of time and money. So what exactly do you need to be clear on? I'm glad you asked. Here are the big 5 I advise my clients to clarify before you hire for a role, and then continue to clarify during your employee's tenure. First, the mission of the role. This is a clear, concise statement of the role's core purpose, so you know exactly who you're looking for and what they're doing. The next thing, the one big thing. This is actually modeled after Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. It's really my favorite question to really see if you need to hire for this position. And the simple way to think about this is, if they did nothing else but this one thing for their whole time that they were with you, what would it be? And would it make a significant positive difference in the business? Now, I'm not saying it's one, like they do one thing and then they don't do anything else. It's one thing repeated over and over and over and over again. It could be something like just managing an account, or getting new customers, or making sure that your AP and AR is up to date. It could be anything, but really clarifying that one big thing that they're doing for you is going to help make sure that you're hiring not only the right person, but that you really do need to hire. Because it's not about, in my opinion, it's not about the quantity of people that you have on your team. It's the quality of people. You can have a very lean team made of mostly players and a few worker bees and accomplish a lot versus having a team of, let's say, dozens of people who are either disconnected or confused, or maybe a whole bunch of worker bees that are not actually moving the business forward. The third thing is accountabilities. This is essentially asking, what is success? What will they be held to? So much so that when I look at their performance, I know that they're on the track to success and being able to hold up why we hired them. 4, how does this role fit in the company? I think this is a really important question, because a lot of times when we hire someone, we think about what they're doing in a silo and not necessarily how it's actually fitting into the company. So who is this hire going to impact, collaborate with? Is it going to cause a strain here or an efficiency here? Like really asking yourself, what are the moving pieces of the business that are going to be impacted both for good and maybe challenging ways as well in the business? And then last but not least, why are you hiring this role? What problem is this role solving? Is it a people problem, an ops problem, a sales problem, a marketing problem, or challenge? What is it solving? Like really getting clear on why you're hiring. Again, I'm not a proponent of having a lot of butts in the seats unless you need all of the butts. But more often than not, I have seen companies when they are very intentional with their hiring and find the players who have the innate talents they're looking for, they can accomplish way more than having an army full of worker bees that you have to manage and do double duty with. The second part of hitting the bullseye is you've got to speak to your future employees in a way that connects them to your business and their role in your job posts. So what I mean is this. We've all seen the job posts that have a few generic sentences and bullet points. Literally, they're a dime a dozen. But in today's world, they're not going to attract what we call players. And again, if this is a new term for you, I recommend you listen to season 1, episode 3, or head to goldenkeypartnership.com/player to get our free resource on the difference that makes all the difference. I'm not kidding. When you understand the difference between a player and a worker bee, your business, your team, and your time will thank you. So back to what I was saying about like a generic job post just isn't going to cut it. Today, people aren't looking just for jobs to pay the rent. They're looking for jobs where they feel like home, where they matter, where they're part of something bigger than themselves. And so that means that you get to create a job post that's going to stop their scrolling, stop their clicking, right? And if you spend a little time creating a post that speaks from the heart of your business, you will attract exactly who you need, and bonus, you will repel the rest. I go more into this in my Bullseye Hiring workshop, but the few key elements of a successful job post are: what is your company mission? Like, why do you matter? What impact do you make? Why the role matters? And also, if you're following along and you hear similarities into what I said about clarity, I pulled those questions in clarity from our scorecard, which you can also download from the website. I'll link it below, goldenkeypartnership.com/scorecard. But when you take time to get clarity, all those questions in filling out the scorecard or role card, whatever you want to call it, will actually help you fill in the job description in a really meaningful way. So again, why the role matters, that goes back to the mission of the role, also how it fits into the company, why we're hiring, like all of that comes into why the role matters. What's in it for them? Again, people don't want to be just a cog in your business. They want to know what's in it for them. Like, how is this going to further them in their life mission and goals? Because a lot of times I see entrepreneurs forget that the human beings in their business also have goals and ambitions. And so you want to make sure that there's a symbiotic relationship between how we're supporting their goals and visions and checking in with that, as well as they're helping the business goals and visions. And then this is the last part, really sussing out and describing who they are in a way that they read it and go, oh my God, this is me. This is completely me. And I can tell you with every job post that I personally do, or I work with my clients on, the feedback that we get time and time again is, I knew I had to apply for this role because the job description spoke to me, or I saw myself in the job and I knew that I wanted to be a part of this company. And this goes back to being really clear on who you're looking for. And this is the advice that I give my clients, is you get to hire on innate talents, not just tasks or tools or tech that you want them to use, but like, who is this person at their core? How do they think? How do they feel? How do they respond and react? And how do they work in a team? And what's going to set them up for success in this role? Because something that sets someone up for success in one role versus another will differ from person to person. So you want to make sure you get very clear on who the person is in their core that's going to make that role just blow it out of the water. Last but not least, you've got to set them up for success, not just throw them in the deep end and see who sinks or swims. This is all about having a clear company culture, mission, and a simple, effective, and duplicatable, I'm going to say that again, simple, effective, and duplicatable onboarding process to set them up for success. So every business is different, but one thing that never changes is this. If you want a team that is successful, you have to give them the foundation to stand on. I see this mistake happen a lot with quote unquote busy entrepreneurs who think that we are quote unquote too busy to really take the time to get someone up to speed. I hear this a lot actually. They'll just figure it out. They'll just figure it out. It's fine. They've got what they need. But that's not actually how it works. Yes, I know you might be thinking, well, after all, they were brought on to help me, right? Well, yes, but no. Yes, they're there to help you in the business, but if you don't provide the foundational structure of success, then my friend, you just wasted time and dollars with someone that either won't stick around or who won't be as successful in their role as they could be. Also, here's another truth bomb for you. If your team, quote unquote, stinks, or you're frustrated with your team or they're not performing, my advice is take a look in the mirror, because I would bet my firstborn that there could be something missing in your leadership, in your communication, in your expectations of the team that's causing them to not perform at their best or causing friction points in the team. I know that hiring sometimes is this thing that we avoid and we're like, we could do it. It might just be faster to do it ourselves. Or, when we're trying to teach or delegate, like we can get frustrated because it takes time. But when you actually get very intentional and you follow these 3 points, you're going to hit the bullseye with hiring 99.9% of the time. I don't ever say 100% because there's always room for error, but this really will help you hit that bullseye 9 times out of 10. And if you're really chomping at the bit to master hiring and quite literally become an expert in hitting that bullseye every time, then I would invite you to come join my next free Bullseye Hiring workshop. After 45 minutes with me, this will be the last hiring workshop you'll need. That's my promise to you. You can learn more and save your seat at goldenkeypartnership.com. And the thing that I really want to leave you with is when you're looking to elevate yourself out of operator into owner, it really starts with ops, systems, and team. And when you can master your team and how you hire and finding the right people for you, it changes everything and it makes your business more fun. It makes it more impactful. It frees you up. It frees them up. Like everything starts running like a well-oiled machine. So if you've been resisting hiring or said any of the phrases that I started this episode with, I invite you to take a moment and slow down, find the time, rather make the time to really get clear on your team and who you're hiring. And trust me, your business, your team, your life, your relationships will thank me. That's it for this week's episode. I'd love to hear from you and your biggest takeaways. So make sure that you are following along. Go ahead and tag me on Instagram at It's Lauren Goldstein, or connect with me on LinkedIn or wherever you hang out on the interwebs. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notified when our next episode drops. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. So which part of your business needs love and attention? You might be wondering that. Here are your next steps. Head to goldenkeypartnership.com or the show notes below to schedule your diagnostic deep dive. Thanks for listening to the Biz Doctor podcast. If you love the show, please share it with your colleagues or tag me on social media, especially LinkedIn. And subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Story Studio Network.